are now tuned in to the Silent Chaos podcast hosted by yours truly. That is me, Mr. Adam Infanta. I hope you guys are having a great week so far. It is a Tuesday night, and work for me has been crazy busy. But today I wanted to make a podcast because it is Tuesday night, which means SmackDown was tonight. Yes, people, I am going to talk about wrestling. I am 32 and I've been into wrestling almost all my life. And I want to make a podcast about wrestling. This is actually one of the reasons why I want to do a podcast, was to talk about wrestling. And I think the podcast is a little bit taking on a form of its own, but I haven't done a wrestling podcast yet. And so I decided to do one tonight. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this. If you guys aren't into wrestling, I'm sorry. I will be making other podcasts as well. But tonight I wanted to focus on wrestling tonight. And the fun thing about my wrestling podcast in the future is that they're not going to be alone. I am planning to have a couple of my friends join in on this podcast, just because I think with the wrestling, one of the great things about wrestling is that it brings a sense of community, and people from all types of walks of life enjoy it. It's not just a particular group of people who enjoy wrestling. It is definitely something that can bring people together, and that's why I like it. That's why, for good or bad, with the wrestling community, I like to interact with people who enjoy wrestling as much as I do. Um, so yeah, I will be having some friends in the next few podcasts, hopefully come over, and we will be talking about wrestling. Anyways, I really wanted to focus on a couple of things tonight about wrestling. And I think one of the biggest things is, uh, you know, with the emergence of Roman Reigns. People hear his name, and some people love him, some people hate him. I am indifferent about him. I don't hate the guy. I don't love the guy. He's okay. I can understand why people don't like him. I do not, and I repeat, I do not understand, or will I ever understand, why people hate him. For me, there's a difference between hating somebody and liking somebody. There's a huge difference. And I get why people don't like him, and that's okay not to like him. You don't have to like him. But for people to hate this guy, I think is very strange to me, to hate somebody that you really don't even know. His promo work isn't the best. It's. I mean, I'll be frank about it. It's terrible. He cannot cut a good promo, and you can blame it on a lot of things. Blame it on Vince. You can blame it on the creative team writing his promos. There's so many things I think you blame it on, but I think he needs to take some of the blame for it. Um, it's just, especially recently, I have been very underwhelmed when he gets on the microphone. And it doesn't help when you have 12 to 14,000 people booing you every show. I know I couldn't do it. I know a lot of people probably would have a hard time um, getting behind. He's supposed to be a good guy. He's supposed to be a face. For those of you who do not know wrestling terminology, a face is a good guy. He's supposed to be a good guy, and the crowd treats him like he is the biggest bad guy to ever grace the WWE. If you watch wrestling, you understand what I'm saying. He comes out, and as soon as his music hits like that, you get a chorus of boos, and not just he boos. Heel means bad guy for those who don't watch wrestling. So when I say heel, that means bad. Um, he gets what people like to call X-Pac heat, which is basically real hatred. He So yeah, his promos aren't great, but again, when you're being booed like that, I think when you're trying to be a face and being booed like that, I think it's really hard to go out there and portray a sense of passion when people don't give a crap of what you're saying. Um, like I said, for me personally, I don't hate him. I think his in-ring work is a lot better than people give him credit for. Yes, his move set isn't the most diverse, but again, he has proven with the right opponents, he could put on a very, very good match. Um, but unfortunately, the WWE doesn't know what to do with him, or they're in a state of denial of what to do with him. I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. This past Monday night, Kurt Angle was in the ring and he was kind of doing this whole authority figure thing where he was basically saying, I got to do what's best for business to Roman Reigns. And I feel like at that moment, I wanted Roman just to snap and to go all stone cold. Just go, and doesn't matter who's in front of you, whatever's in your way, you go and you destroy everybody and anything that is holding you back from that WWE title, or the Universal title in this case. And he didn't do it. And I feel like maybe they're setting that up so he's eventually going to snap. Although later on in the night, he did snap on Jinder Mahal. I don't know. It feels like they're trying to do the whole Braun Strowman thing with him now, where Roman Reigns is going to be this monster. But if they're really going to do that, they really need to go all in on this monster persona, and just he takes no names and just goes and destroys and wrecks everybody. Again, it would have been nice to have seen him wreck Kurt Angle, and just to show passion. I understand that the situation the WWE is in with Brock Lesnar being champion, which I'm not a fan of Brock Lesnar. I'd rather have Roman Reigns as champion any day. But uh, especially when Brock Lesnar they're saying isn't going to wrestle into SummerSlam, which is in August. The In my opinion, the top belt on Raw is the Intercontinental Championship. Seth Rollins, I'll talk about him in a little bit, but that to me is the top championship on Raw. The Universal title is just Brock's title, in my opinion. And, you know, it's just a matter of, okay, that's Brock's title. Whenever someone's going to take it off him, then maybe it'll change. But right now, that's Brock's title, and it means absolutely nothing. I think the WWE, I guess they feel like Brock brings in money, and as long as he brings in money, they're not going to change things. I love the fact that I do appreciate the fact that the WWE just swerve everybody, and everyone was saying, "Oh, Roman's going to win the title at WrestleMania," and he didn't. It was just a bloodbath, and it was a very disappointing match. But Brock Lesnar won, and then he won again at the Greatest Royal Rumble. And yeah, I mean, he's a champion. The Universal Champion. Again, like I said, I feel like the Intercontinental Championship on Raw right now is the marquee championship on Raw. Um, but back to Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns. Yeah, so I mean, I'm hoping. I don't know what the WWE is really thinking when it comes down to him. Um, like I said, it feels like they're trying so hard to get Roman to be over as a face, and you think they're not stupid. No matter what people say on Twitter or on YouTube or whatever, the W is not stupid. Vince is not stupid. He might be stuck in his old ways when it comes down to certain things, but they're not stupid. Triple H has a good grasp. I mean, watch NXT. It's amazing. So you know that the WWE isn't stupid to this. They understand um, what's going on here, and it that makes me boggle my mind even more. Um, that they continue to trot out Roman Reigns as a face when the crowd hates him. Now maybe they're thinking, well, the crowd's going to hate him no matter what, but you have to give this character some depth, and he doesn't have any right now. It's basically I beat everyone else except Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is the only guy I can't beat, and it's unfortunate that this is the case. I think it would go over better if you had someone else but Brock Lesnar in that situation. Let's say you switch Brock Lesnar with Braun Strowman, and I think it changes the whole situation. I think Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns have proved they can put on great matches. Brock Lesnar doesn't put on good matches anymore. AJ Styles versus Brock Lesnar was a great match only because of AJ Styles. He put all that work into that match. Brock Lesnar did not. He's proven that he's there for a paycheck, and that brings me to my other point with Roman Reigns is that what the WWE's trying to do? Are they trying to get us to hate Brock Lesnar so much that we just accept that Roman Reigns is the guy? And that we just get so tired of Brock Lesnar as champion and this reign he's had that we just give up and say, okay, Roman Reigns, you're the guy. That's not going to work. I mean, for me personally, like I said, I'd rather see Roman Reigns as champion. I think he'll be a good champion because, like I said, he puts on decent matches. Like I said, his promo work can get better. I hope it can get better if they just let him be him. I feel like he's so beat down by everything that's been going on that his promo work is even suffering even more because I feel like it has got worse. Um, but yeah, I mean, I hope that the WWE really tries to right the ship at some point, because every arena he's going to, he gets booed. I mean, in Saudi Arabia, he got booed. So in every country, in London, he was just booed out of the building. Canada, oh my God, that was embarrassing. But yeah, so I just hope that they, find something, and I feel like they have to. I mean, how much longer, can you go with a guy that your audience just isn't gravitating to? And I used to try to defend him by saying, well, it's just the vocal majority, but it's when it's every arena and it's just nonstop, and the majority of people that I interact with can't stand him, something has to be done. And like I said, it's unfortunate because, like I said, I don't hate Roman Reigns. Like I said, I don't love him, but I like him. I think he's fine. Like I said, outside of his promos, I don't have a problem with him. But we'll see what the WWE does. I try not to be negative on the product because I think the product has a lot of good stuff going for it. A lot of good stuff. I think at this point in time with the emergence of NXT over the past couple of years and the emergence of just raw talent that the WWE has in it. I mean, you have Ricochet in NXT, you have the Velveteen Dream in NXT, you have the Undisputed Era in NXT. I believe that WWE has the best wrestlers in the world. I know some people might disagree and say New Japan does. New Japan, don't get me wrong, I'm not a New Japan hater, but my passion is WWE. I think maybe because one, it's easier to access, and I do have more of a connection with the WWE than New Japan. I will watch New Japan when they have something big going on. If they have, a big match going on, I will take a glance at it. I'm not a New Japan hater. I just, my preference is the WWE. Just because I feel like it's more tailored towards me than New Japan is. But yeah, New Japan is amazing too. I mean, like I said, they have probably some of the best wrestling matches in the past decade in New Japan going on. But like I said, I don't know enough about New Japan to really criticize it or to love it. I hear a lot of things about it. A couple podcasts I do watch that do talk about it, but I don't personally have enough personal viewing of New Japan to have a complete opinion about them. Maybe if I ever have time, I will start try to watch it. But like I said, I don't have too much time. I almost fell asleep through SmackDown, and SmackDown I thought was a really good tonight. But it's just because work and getting home exhausted. I try to make it through it. But yeah. So, anyways, back to Raw and Roman Reigns. Um, it's I guess it's a wait and see approach to it. It feels like that they moved him down on the card just a little bit to face Jinder Mahal, maybe just in a holding pattern until Brock decides to show his face again, which all reports are that it's going to be at SummerSlam, which, like I said, is just very unfortunate because to not have your so-called top title on Raw for the next 3 months means it's not existent. Anyone else who would go 30 days without a title defense because of injury is stripped of the title. And I don't see how the WWE can make that any different here. If Brock Lesnar isn't defending his title at Money in the Bank, how can you justify him keeping that title? it boggles my mind that the WWE is going to do that. And they're going to turn a lot of people off. But at the end of the day, they're not losing a lot of viewers. I mean, you read the ratings, and although yes, they're never going to come back to where they were in the Attitude Era. So I don't want to talk about that, but they've been consistent, and they're not dropping in ratings. They've been pretty on par what they've been doing for the past year or so. So people aren't turning the TV off. They're not. They're continuing to watch the product. And I want them to continue to watch the product. I don't want them to be like, oh, we hate Roman, we hate Brock, we're gonna stop watching the product. There's so much other good stuff going in the WWE right now that it would be a disservice to yourself, and then a disservice to the other wrestlers who are in the WWE right now who are completely killing it. On Raw by itself, you have Seth Rollins, who I wasn't a Seth Rollins guy. I couldn't stand Seth Rollins, um, especially when he was a heel. So he was doing his job right, but even after he turned face, he just wasn't somebody I liked. I just didn't something about him, which is was not something that I was into. But slowly with these matches he's been having, I think it's all started off with that gauntlet match, and he lasted for I think over an hour. He gives his all, and he's earned my respect over the past couple months, and he's now one of my favorite wrestlers. And it's funny because Raw to me is um, not my favorite show. SmackDown is my favorite show, and I'll go into SmackDown in a couple minutes. But um, outside of Seth Rollins and Finn Balor, um, I'm not a huge fan of many of the talent on Raw. Braun Strowman's good. I think he's an interesting case just because it seems like the fans love him. But the matches he had against Brock Lesnar for the title, the three-way match with Kane, and then the one I want to say I forget what pay-per-view it was at. No Way Out, I think. No, I forget what pay-per-view it was at. The crowd was dead, and I don't know what the problem was with that, but it feels like when he gets onto the big stage, the crowd dies for some reason. I could be completely wrong about that, but it just really it's an interesting case because like I said, it just feels like the crowd is into it when he's not in the main stage. But when he's in the ring with Brock Lesnar and they're fighting, maybe because it's so lackluster because both of their fighting styles are very slow. So maybe that's the problem is you're putting Brock Lesnar, who is a slow fighter, and Braun Strowman, who's a powerhouse. Putting those two type of fighters together, maybe it's not what the WWE is about anymore, and so the matches become kind of muddled down by that, and maybe they just loses the crowd with that. I don't know if that's really the case, but like I said, I like Braun Strowman. I think he's funny. I think he has a lot of charisma. Um, and he's great, and I feel like he can really uh, be the next guy. If the WWE continues to build him the way they are, he is now a face. And that scared me the most because I'm like, how are you going to turn this monster into a face? But now he's a face and hasn't slowed down his momentum at all. So, like I said, I mean, I do like Braun Strowman. I'm hoping as time goes by, he just continues to build. Like I said, he's only been in the WWE for a couple of years now, so I'm just hoping that he continues to get better. Elias is great. That's interesting because, like I said, a lot of people like to complain about the WWE, but WWE is really building up a couple people. Elias is another one of those guys that no one knew what they were going to get out of him. They had this guy in NXT who would just walk around the back with his guitar, and he looked cool, and when his matches were going to go, he would sit down and strum his guitar on the turnbuckle. And they brought him up, and everyone was like, really, this guy, like, what are you guys going to do with him? And they had him start doing those performances in the middle of the ring, and slowly but surely people started to love it. And that's just another thing that the WWE does right. And it gets a lot of flack for what people say the WWE does wrong all the time. But in that case, it does that pretty well. So yeah, like I said, there's a couple guys on Raw that I do like, but like I said, my top two guys on Raw right now are Seth Rollins and Finn Balor. I think they're probably the two of the best wrestlers on Raw. Um, but yeah, like I said, since they did the Superstar Shakeup on Raw, I feel like it's kind of a little lackluster. Um, like I said, they lost a couple of people. Samoa Joe, they lost to SmackDown. Um, but yeah, so I'm just I'm indifferent on Raw sometimes. Like I said, last night on Raw, it kind of dragged a little bit for me, but it's 3 hours of wrestling. It's gonna drag. But yeah, SmackDown though. Turn my attention to SmackDown just a little bit. Tonight was pretty decent. Uh, I'm gonna butcher the name. Yes, I am Mexican, but I am terrible at Spanish. Terrible at Spanish. But Andre Cianamas debuted tonight, and I have absolutely been waiting for this debut by him for the past month since they announced he was going to SmackDown. I have absolutely just couldn't wait for this to happen, and now he's here. And like I said, he's El Idolo. I know I'm saying that wrong. It means a legend. Um, you know, he's just amazing, and he had a little squash match tonight, and Selena Vega looks amazing. She's beautiful, and he had a squash match tonight. Looked great in that match, absolutely great. He moved fast. He looked great. He destroyed, and he did exactly what he wanted to do. And Selena Vega came up, and they cut a pro. She cut a promo, and I'm just like, great. That's they basically did what they took what he was in NXT and brought him up to the main roster, which I think was a lot of people's fear. Were they going to do that? But it looked great, and they said that they're not here to play nice; they're here to take over. I'm sold. I'm sold. I can't wait. As a Mexican to see, as a Mexican American to see a fellow Mexican come up and uh, and that I enjoy as much as I enjoy watching him. It reminds me of Eddie Guerrero. Um, Alberto Del Rio, no disrespect on him, not my guy. Ring work was very boring. Um, I didn't like him. I couldn't stand him. He was not the heir apparent to Eddie Guerrero. Just couldn't even hold a candle to Eddie. The fact that Andre, in this short period of time, has made me such a fan of his in such a short period of time that he, to me, in my eyes, can be the next Eddie. That is huge because Eddie Guerrero to me is my favorite wrestler of all time. I believe he is the one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Eddie was one of the best on the mics, bar none. I don't care what you say. Eddie on the mic was absolutely ridiculous on the mic, and in the ring he was even better. Um, Andre, like I said, he has a very heavy accent. That's why with Selena Vega by his side, she can be his mouthpiece. She is his Paul Heyman, and she is a spitfire. That woman can talk, and she speaks with conviction, which I believe ever since she hooked up with Andre in NXT, brought him to the next level, and it made his career to what it is now in such a short period of time. And I'm glad that they kept them together. I'm not sure if anyone can correct me or not. Are they a couple? I'm not sure. I think they are. Especially tonight, he came out there, and I don't know if I noticed in the past, but he blew her a kiss on the stage. I mean, on the entrance ramp, he blew her a kiss, and I was like, oh, I never really noticed that before. Maybe he's done it the whole time, but I don't know. But if they're a couple, they make a great couple. But yeah, no, that I'm really excited for that. I believe that he probably will be in the upper tier of SmackDown for a while. But like I said, SmackDown is the best show right now. I mean, outside of NXT, but SmackDown is the best main show right now. How can it not be? You have the best talents on SmackDown. You have Shinsuke Nakamura, who I love, even love even more now that he's a heel, and I can't wait because I'm hoping and I'm pretty sure he's going to win the title at Money in the Bank. I mean, it wouldn't make sense at this point for him not to win the title. You have AJ Styles, which I'm a huge fan of AJ Styles, huge fan. I just love Shinsuke more. His heel work to me just adds something that I didn't know he had, and it's great. It's great. Those low blows he does on AJ and his facial expressions are just to die for, and it's amazing. But yeah, I love AJ Styles though too. His ring work is probably one of the best, if not the best, in the WWE. I would love to see him and Seth Rollins go at it right now. That would be amazing, but they're not going to go for a while. You have Daniel Bryan. What can be said about him? He is uh, one of the greats, and the fact that he's wrestling again is great. I don't have a problem with him being in the middle card right now. Um, I think the WWE's being smart with that. You don't want to put all your eggs in that basket right now, especially if you don't know how long is he going to be actually wrestling. You know, it could take the wrong bump and hit his head again, and then he has to not wrestle again. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I feel like he is adapting his wrestling style to more of a safer style for him and his brain. So I'm hoping that continues to go that way because the way the crowd reacts to him, he's going to be main card eventually. But like I said, I'm liking that they're easing him more into it and everything, and so it feels like that's good. That's a good step. Daniel Bryan even said it himself that he wanted to be on SmackDown because he wanted to build talent. So for him to be going against Cass right now, it's good. It's really good. That's exactly what Daniel Bryan wants. So I don't understand why people are complaining about that. Daniel's doing exactly what he wants to do, and that's building up stars and wrestling again. I mean, he's happy, and like I said tonight, he said that it's more than just being happy. He wants to be at the top, so he's gonna get there. He's gonna get there, people. That's one thing about the WWE universe, and I think wrestling fans in general, just a little impatient, just tranquilo a little bit. He's gonna get there, and you can't have everyone at the top at one time. The wrestling has so much talent. They have so much talent that some people who should be main carders are going to be mid carders for a little bit. It's the merry-go-round. They're going to get their time to shine, hopefully. And Daniel Bryan, he's going to get his time to shine. But yeah, Daniel Bryan, you have the emergence of Rusev Day. I mean, Rusev is really cool. I mean, it's really cool to see this guy who was probably on the brink of leaving the WWE and to get over just by being himself. And he reminds me a little bit of The Rock in that aspect of it. When he first came into the WWE, he was this foreign guy who just would kill and demolish everybody, and that was great. That was great. That was a great way to um, uh, get his foot in the door to be that dominating guy. And then he lost to John Cena, and his career was kind of sputtering a little bit. Did some questionable things, I guess, in the WWE's eyes when him and Lana came out as a real couple when they were in a storyline about them breaking up. So he lost some favor. But give credit to Rusev. People talk about these wrestlers need to reach for that brass ring. Rusev reached, and he has it. And I remember when the Rusev Day chants just started, I was like, those are cool. Let's see how long it lasts. I think it's been like about a year now, right? It's been a while that these Rusev Day chants have been going, and his character has slowly been morphing different. They still have him as a heel, which I guess works. I mean, I think the best characters in the WWE history have not been necessarily defined as heel or face. You have The Rock, you have Austin, who, were so-called faces, but they sometimes did heelish things. But yeah, Rusev is great, and his in-ring work is really good as well. He's a big dude, and he can still do really good in-ring work. Um, And yeah, like I said, he's really charismatic. He knows how to talk on the mic. He has a beautiful wife. And that helps just because the crowd loves her. But yeah, SmackDown overall, I mean, you have the New Day on SmackDown, which, geez, I love the New Day. I've always loved the New Day. They are just entertaining, and I hope they never break up. And I'm glad tonight that they actually get to choose. And I'm almost certain they're going to choose Kofi Kingston to do the Money in the Bank. I think they kind of said it over time in the past and saying if one person could get a singles push, who would it be? They said it was going to be Kofi Kingston. Um, I don't think that they're going to break up. Some people were worried about that. I'm not worried about that at all. I hope not. I hope my confidence in WWE being smart with New Day is you keep them together. Don't ever break them up. Doesn't mean that they can't get a single run, but just don't ever break them up. There's no need to do that. There's no need to break them up. But yeah, New Day is amazing. They put on some good tag team matches. They elevated the tag team division along with the Usos, who are really good as well. Especially since the Usos changed their whole theme and not the face paint anymore, and they're more edgy, which is great, And it works for them, and their in ring work shows it. It's a little edgier and everything like that. So yeah, SmackDown, I think overall, in the women's division, that's just another thing. I mean, great for them. They have Charlotte, they have Asuka, they have Becky Lynch. Um, you know, they have SmackDown has so much talent on it, entertaining talent, not just talent, just entertaining talent on it that it makes the show go by fast. And it is only 2 hours, so I think it gets that benefit. That even if it was a 3 hour show, I still think that it would still fly by a lot faster than Raw's 3 hours flies by. So yeah, I think SmackDown really did get the better of the brand shakeup, and so for the next year or so, it's going to be a really fun show to watch. And yeah, I can't wait to see what happens at Money in the Bank. Um, I don't know who's going to win yet. I had to take a guess because the rosters for the Money in the Bank for the men and women haven't been filled out completely yet. But I don't think it's going to be a Raw winner just because when are they going to cash it in? Brock Lesnar is never there. So I think it's going to go to a SmackDown guy. And I mean, that's I'll wait. I'll wait till I find out exactly who's in the match. I wouldn't put over that the Miz might win it. I really think the Miz has an opportunity to win that. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. On the women's side, same thing. Although I think I'll put more faith in a Raw woman winning that match. Just because I'm hoping that Asuka takes the title off Carmella because although Carmella looked great tonight, I'm not a Carmella fan. I think she represents divas, uh, what they used to be, and just me personally, for when they use the term diva, it's basically beautiful women who can't wrestle. Carmella is not a good wrestler. And I think that a women's division, to be able to go to where it needs to go, you need to have the best wrestlers hold the titles. Um, and Carmella, to me, she's great on the mic. She looks great tonight. I actually thought she looked really good. I liked the whole get up she was in, and it was better. The match she had with Charlotte, I didn't understand that. I didn't understand her going over clean necessarily, but they made her look strong on that, which is great. But again, that wasn't a great match. Um, but yeah, so anyways, I'm hoping Asuka takes the title off Carmella at Money in the Bank. I think she will, unless Carmella cheats to win. But then you're running the risk of um, making Asuka look really weak. Going after the title twice and losing like that. But yeah, like I said, I'm hoping the title changes hands to Asuka, and I'm hoping the title changes hands between AJ and Shinsuke at Money in the Bank. That'd be really cool to see the WWE have two Asian title holders at the top of the card and on SmackDown. like I love diversity, and so to be able to see that, I think would be really cool. Um, so yeah, so anyways, I've been rambling on for a little bit over half an hour now, and I just wanted to make this video just to, have some fun. And I appreciate everyone who made it through the whole 35 minutes. I might have bored some of you guys, or I might have got some more WWE fans to come join me. We'll see. So anyways, I hope you guys have a terrific rest of your Tuesday night, and have a good rest of your week, and be safe out there, guys. All right. Love you guys. Peace.